Can we hold hands?
You can hold hands. You guys look
Hi.
great.
Hi.
Awesome. You nervous?
Yeah.
Me too.
From the beginning, Paul and Tessa were the perfect match.
Breathe. Don't lie.
At least that's what the people at Match.com thought. Paul and Tessa, however, would take a little bit more convincing. Now get this. From the time they made their first contact, it took them 3 months of emailing, 3 months of asking questions, 3 months of probing. And once they had finally were convinced that neither one of them was a convicted felon, they decided to have their first meeting, Cinco de Mayo, 2007. Now, Tessa had a lot on her list of what she wanted in a man. Naturally, she wanted somebody with a great sense of humor and somebody who was good looking. But really, let's be honest, she wanted somebody tall. Very tall. Well, when she showed up for that very first date, Paul was sitting down. And now, I don't know if you know this, but Paul sits short. When Paul's in a chair, he looks like he's about 5'8". And Tessa took one look at him and thought, I have just got ripped off. Well, when Paul finally stood up, and Tessa checked him for platform shoes, she realized that this was her man. In fact, really, it was only several weeks later in which they both realized that they were in love. Now, Paul didn't take long for him to realize that this was the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. And he wanted everything to be perfect when he asked her. So they planned a trip. It was up to Las Vegas for their friend Lou and Susan's 30th wedding anniversary. Right? Anniversary, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they had a big party, and Tessa, of course, as she went up there, they had talked about getting married, but Tessa was, well, basically clueless, because this was Lou and Susan's time. Well, Paul, as they were sitting at dinner, slyly dropped in a fake engagement ring into her glass. Well, just about the time she saw that engagement ring, before she knew it, Paul was on one knee. Now, just so you know, Paul kneels higher than most people. Sits short, kneels high. They're looking eye to eye at that time. And Paul was holding an engagement ring. And he asked Tessa to spend the rest of his life with her. So from that point, Tessa said yes, and that's how we find ourselves here today. When I asked Paul what he loves about Tessa, he said she is the most caring and giving person he has ever met. Paul loves the way Tessa is always there for her family and friends. When I asked Paul why he is marrying Tessa, he said, plain and simple, I love her with all my heart, till death do us part.
You're a poet.
Tessa loves that Paul is gentle and caring. She also loves that Paul is loyal and generous to everyone in his life. Tessa loves Paul for his sense of humor. And of course, did I mention that he's tall? When I asked Tessa why she is marrying Paul, she said, he's the love of my life. I waited a long time to find the one, and I'm so blessed that I found him.